So to demonstrate how to create a web test on Classi using the online wizard, I'm going to attempt to put together an old midterm test that I have here that was paper-based. So first in Classi, we're going to go to web test, and you'll see here on the right side there's three options, and to get into the wizard you want to click the blue button here, which is to create a new test. Okay. So we got to fill a few things in first. So first, a title. I'm just going to go ahead and make this midterm 1. This is an English test for high school, of course, high school English. You can also set a level of difficulty based on Benesse's ranking of universities and how students are, or which students are capable to get into which universities, which is optional. You don't have to do that, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. The only things that are required are the ones with the red notes here. So let's create a test. There are two options you can choose from for creating a web test. First is to create from scratch your own test questions, or you can select test questions from a category of questions created by Benesse. So let's just go ahead and create a new problem. Okay, so in this problem, we're going to start with paragraph. So just going to go ahead and call it paragraph. Now if you wanted to add any media files, you can do that, but I don't need any here. So let's just go ahead and move on so we can create the question. Okay, and for this we're going to do a rearrange. So you have 6 options of questions here. The top one is a multiple choice followed by fill in the blank. Third choice is a fill in the blank using a word box. Next one is true false, or in Japanese they call marubatsu. And then the 5th option is a rearrange, with the last one being what's called a self-scoring. So whatever the student types in as their answer, they can then check the answer themselves and then respond on the test on whether what they answered is correct or incorrect. So we're going to choose rearrange. Okay, and now we want to fill in what we're doing. So I'm just going to do a copy and paste from this old test. Okay, and I want to go ahead and add in this little word bank here. Okay. Now again, if you want to add a file, could be a listening file, an image file, you can go ahead and do that. But we don't need one for this. So what they're going to rearrange here is these sentences to create a proper paragraph. So there are 10 sentences, so we need 10 entries. 1, 2, 3, 4. This little plus here, click on that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so 10 entries. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and cut and paste. Okay, so I pasted all 10 sentences here. Now what I need to do is I need to identify the actual correct order. So we'll just do this here, click on each box, and you'll see your sets of answers here. Okay, so what I've done is I've identified the correct order. So this is the order that students are expected to get and able to get the points on the test. Right? So this section only has one question, so we're going to go ahead and finish there. If you want to write a comment to students after they've completed the question, so they would see the comment after they finish the question, you can go ahead and write it here. But again, that's optional, so I'm going to go ahead and skip. So what you'll see here is one problem has been made, and if we click see more, within that problem you have one question. So let's go ahead and create a second problem. And again, we're going to create a new one. And the next one here is called conversation. Okay. And yeah. So no media is needed, so click next. And this one's going to be in a fill in the blank. So the fill in the blank is going to be the second option. Okay, and from here, go ahead and so complete the conversations. Okay, that's the instructions. Okay. And this is a A-son, B-son. So now, how to do fill in the blank is whatever you want the students to fill, you just put in an underline. Okay, and down at the bottom here, you'll see the options for the answers pop up. Okay, B-son, Riverside, A-son, again, will be the fill in the blank. B-son, oops. Okay, all right, so you got the A-son, B-son here. Now, with the questions, how do I want them to look? I-U-A-O, 1, 2, 3, ABC. ABC might be confusing, so I'm going to use 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the answer to number 1 is, where are you from? And the next one is, where's that? Okay. The only option available would be what the teacher writes as the correct answer. Okay. Now I got two conversations here, so I'm going to add a second question, which you do here. So click the plus. And again, this will be fill in the blank. Okay. And the nice thing is, as you're making this, you can actually see what the students are going to see when they take the test, without the answer box there, of course. Okay. So we're done there. Okay. Click next. Again, comment. No, I'm not going to write anything. Okay. So we got a problem 1 with one question. Oops. And then a problem 2 with 2 questions there. Yeah. All right. So far, so good. Let's go on to the next part. So we're going to create another one. New problem. So make sure you hit the plus. New problem. Okay, this one's we're going to call reading and grammar. Okay. All right. And again, there's nothing, no image file that needs to be used. Okay. Now, this is where some of the limitations of this online test comes from. The original idea for this part of the exam was that the students had to rewrite the introduction, but rewrite it from a third person into a first person. There's no option for any kind of a long writing, but the self-assessment option does give students a larger text box. So in theory, you could use this, but it's the only way that this can be assessed is whether the student believes what they've written is correct or incorrect, and that's how they mark themselves. So let's just go ahead and use this for now. Again, I'm just going to do a copy and paste to make this easier. Okay. Now for the answer, what answer do I want them to write? So in this case, I want to change this from third person to first person. So just going to change this to I am, I was, my father, my mother, my most famous roles, I am, okay? So that's what the students are expected to write. So again, they're going to see, if you look on the left side, they're going to see this whole part up here, and then they're going to see a text box from the right into. After they're done writing, they hit next, and they'll see this with a little multiple choice at the bottom that you say either correct or incorrect, and the students have to make that decision themselves. Again, it's a all or nothing in terms of how much points is awarded for this question. All right, so let's move on. There's actually two sections here in the reading and grammar, but in able to do this reading part, we're going to have to create a new problem. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, we'll call this reading and grammar also. Okay, and in this part, it's the best idea to put the reading inside the problem. So we're going to go ahead and put everything here, and then when it comes time to make the questions, I'm only going to make the multiple choice. Now another limitation is that you can't change the fonts in these questions. So everything is regular. You can't add bold or italics or anything like that, unfortunately. Okay, so let's make the questions. Okay, so it's going to be multiple choice. Okay, so first question, where was Nellie born? And then down here, you would put the answers. Again, up here, you can set the either as IUAO, 1, 2, 3, ABC, or Nashi, so we're just going to keep it with 1, 2, 3 as we've done previously. So, options. Okay, so I have the 4 possible answers. Now if you look on the right side here, you see the little image icon. So if you wanted to, instead of words as the answers, you can actually put images. But anyways, we have 4 possible answers, and down here you need to select which one is the correct answer. So in this case, 3 is the correct answer. Okay. All right, so that's the first question. Let's do the next 3 questions. Okay, so we're done here. If you look at the preview on the left, so you got question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4, and those are all below the short reading there. So we're done there. Again, no comment. All right. So we got 2/3 of the test on there. All right, let's try and get this last one. Okay, now this last one's also a long writing, which make it a little bit more complicated, but we're going to go ahead and try. So those are the instructions. Okay, so they have to write a story using these photos using second person. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use the self-assessment here because it's a writing again. So for the question, we're just going to go ahead and put the image there. It's a screenshot that I made earlier. Okay, so that's what the students see. Now, this is where it gets a little bit difficult. For this particular question, there's a lot of varieties on how it can be written, which is why there's no one correct answer. And this again demonstrates some of the limitations of using the web test. So for now, I'm just going to stop right here and go ahead and hit finished. No comments, and we're done. So in any case, right, the last question is going to look like this. And we're done. Now, one thing before we complete the test is it's probably a good idea to temporarily save your test as you're going along. That way, in case you have a computer error or it takes you more than one day to do the test, you can come back and do that. Now, also the last thing here is you need to set the points. As I think I mentioned in an earlier post, each test is worth 100 points. You can't change that. But you can set how much each is worth. So let's say, so we can just say here 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to say problem 1 is worth 10 points. Okay, and that's the whole caboodle. And problem 2, 10 points. So we'll just go through this very quickly. 10 points. Now problem 4, though I don't need to do it, just kind of show you what you can do here. These options here is you can either the whole problem worth a particular number of points, or within the problem you can set points for each individual question. So let's just do that here. 1, 1, 1, 1. Alright. So that gives me a total of 34 points out of 100. Still need 66. So let's just out of fun, make that one 66. Error and equal 100. That'll allow you to save the test. Okay. Again, one more time, just to kind of take a view of what the test looks like. Everything's okay. Are you sure? Yes. So your test is saved. And if you wanted to, you can go ahead and assign the test. Or you can place your test inside one of your teaching sets. Or you can create another test using the contents of the test you just created.